It's National Book Month, and joining us this morning to talk about his new book is author Robert Wolfe. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being with us this morning. So, you've written a new book called Not a Real Enemy. So, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it very much. My mom and dad wrote their life story. Well, it didn't have any title then, but my mom and dad wrote his autobiography in the 1970s, pretty much pencil and paper, to a typewriter, to a computer, to a disc. Fast forward a few years, my dad passes away in the 1990s. My mom passed away in 2016. I take care of my mom's affairs. I retire for a little bit, and then I pull myself out of retirement to go back to work to help a friend. Started reading x-rays again, which is what I mostly do for a living, or did, and found the disc again. And I loaded the disc, read the stories, and I was completely amazed and flabbergasted by everything that my dad and my mom went through, and their parents and their families. And it inspired me to share the story. And here we are 4 years later, 20 editions later, co-author, nice little team helping me get the book out, and it's now a real product from my dad's original memoirs from the 70s. And believe me, he wrote it and described things as though they happened the day before. And this goes back to the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and even into the 50s. Not only is it a biography, it covers the history of Hungary from World War I through the Hungarian Revolution in 1956. A lot of that history, a lot of people don't know or are not familiar with. And it also covers my dad's family's saga through triumph and tragedy. It's an adventure. My dad's adventures are incredible. He survived, of course, 2 wars: Nazi Hungary, Communist Hungary, multiple bouts of pestilence, cloak and dagger stories, multiple escapes. He argued with armed Russian soldiers. You'd be amazed at who his friends turned out to be and who his enemies turned out to be. The clothes he had to wear, the places he had to hide. Very funny stories, very sad stories. There's no pulling punches. It's a true biography, and it's written in novel style, very well done. I have to give my co-author a lot of credit for helping make this book a very, very nice quality product. It's been described as riveting. It's been described as inspiring, compelling, and we've got rave reviews, and we're just getting going. I hope the messages from this book, including anti-Semitism, which is in the background through just about the whole book, the messages need to be repeated. They need to be taught. And this is my goal. This is what I'm doing. My legacy to my parents, but also let's have a little more togetherness in this world, our society, the free world. Let's learn a little bit more about what the dark world means and what it was, and let's not return to it. So there's a lot. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So when you discovered this disc and started reading these stories, was it something that you were familiar with? Had they told you these stories along through your life, or was this a surprise for you?
My mom and dad they were very intelligent people. They're very well-rounded. They knew about history. They knew about culture across the board, but they educated the free world once they came to the United States about the Holocaust and about communism all the time. And at first I got a little saturated with it when I was younger, but of course I had a career and family and my own life. And I read the book once, but I wasn't as inspired as when I reread it after my mom had passed. It is a regret that I didn't do this project when they were alive, but you're so busy with life that you couldn't do it. But that's where we are now. I really, when I read this book, I was amazed. I was just overwhelmed with emotion. I had to put the book down from time to time. Of course, I was doing it off computer, not literally put it down. But yeah, it came to me. It summoned me. It's like my parents wrote the story, knowing that I was going to do this, and they're still right. Even posthumously, my parents are right.
That's awesome. Where can people find a copy of this new book of yours?
Well, you can find more about me and the book and my social media in general at my website, robertjwolfemd.com. If you look up Not a Real Enemy, you'll find the book, but it's on Barnes & Noble online and also on Amazon as multiple versions.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. Not a Real Enemy, the true story of a Hungarian Jewish man's fight for freedom. Visit robertjwolfemd.com for more details.